A common question that both landlords and tenants often have in California is how much can be collected as a security deposit. The landlord wants to know how much they can charge, the tenant wants to know what the maximum is that the landlord can charge from them. And up until about this point in the summer of 2024, that answer has been either 2 months rent or 3 months rent. 2 months rent if the property is unfurnished, and 3 months rent if the property is furnished. Now that law is changing. It's a new law that goes into effect on July 1st here in California. And you've probably seen headlines that look, frankly, something like this. It says that California to limit security deposits to 1 month's rent under new law signed by Newsom. And that's frankly a little bit confusing because it doesn't tell the whole story. And there's been a lot of confusion around this where everyone now thinks that all security deposits under all circumstances are limited to 1 month's rent in California, but that really isn't the full story. So I want to show you this document. This is straight from the California Department of Justice. And as you can see here, as we just said, it was 2 times the rent for furnished units or 3 times the rent until July 1st. But after, the limit is 1 month's rent. But here's the exception. For landlords who own no more than 2 residential rental properties that collectively include no more than 4 total units for rent, the limit is 2 times the monthly rent, as long as the landlord is a natural person or an LLC in which all members are natural persons. So it really is not the case that the security deposit in California is always limited to 1 month's rent. If you only own one property or you only own 2 properties, you can still charge 2 months rent. No one can charge 3 months rent, even if the unit is furnished. But if you're a small landlord who's a natural person and you have 2 properties, you can still charge 2 months rent if you should so desire to do that. It's just going to create a lot of confusion because of the nature of the headlines and the media coverage and things like that that have really played up this whole 1 month's rent thing. But for a lot of landlords in California who only have 1, maybe 2 rentals, 2 months rent is still completely acceptable per the law. Hopefully that makes things a little bit more clear on how much you can charge in California, when you're allowed to charge more than 1 month's rent, and who you have to be in order to qualify for that what they call the small landlord exemption. But if you're not sure, it's always a great idea to check with an attorney about your specific situation. Nothing in this video was meant to be legal advice. So that's all for this video about security deposits. We'll see you in the next one.